Hey, what is up guys? It's your boy Speed here. Today we're going to be looking at mid lane Primal beasts. We're going to be following Quinn Dota, 3-time major winner at this point, well maybe more. Has he won another major outside of Gaming Gladiators? I don't know, but 3-time back-to-back champs. We're going to be watching his Primal beast gameplay. And specifically I kind of want to talk about fulfilling your role, understanding matchups, and also about hitting timings. I think what he does a really good job of this game is in the early portions of the game, he puts a lot of pressure on the side lanes, just as of nature of his movements, and that's what Primal Beast likes to do due to his low cooldowns and high mobility. And hopefully this video will help you get a better idea of when to farm and when to fight. Alright, before we get into the main part of the video, I do want to let you guys know that I'm not only posting videos here on YouTube, I also frequently post videos on the website. If you don't know what I'm talking about, almost every single day I'm posting a new video to the Game League website. We're going to teach you guys in depth about how to get to the next level. So if you want to become absolutely broken and really take your game to the next level, I'm going to be able to help you, because sometimes the guides on YouTube, there's either not enough of them, they're not specific, or they're just tier lists, which I know you guys love, but at the end of the day, the Game League website is going to help you get to the next level. So click the link down below and sign up. Alright, so let's break down the laning stage. In the lane at level 1, he almost always takes Onslaught. I've watched 3 of his Primal games, and he takes it, well, he took it every single game. And what he does is he secures the range creep. He hits it, nukes it, and that's going to push away the enemy. He didn't hit Crystallis here because he backed up, but if Crystallis did move forward, it would bump him away and potentially allow him to secure the range deny. Unfortunately, due to his reduced damage, he didn't get it, but you can get the gist. Honestly, from there, what I think Quinn does better than any other player is just contest creeps when he's allowed to. Like, I think a lot of people in hard lanes, or lanes that are seemingly hard, like Razor, right? Razor's pretty good against melee heroes, no? But he's just willing to contest most of the CS, you know? And to be fair, the Link runs out and he understands, okay, there's a period of time where Razor doesn't have a nuke and he doesn't have Link, and so I can contest these CS, right? He doesn't actually get that one, and I don't think he gets this one either, yeah, so Crystal is doing a good job there. But even on this wave, with the double wave coming in, he'll secure this melee CS, does get punished a little bit. He'll secure the melee CS, does get denied, but then contests first melee creep, then the range creep, and gets both of the denies using his pretty high damage. And basically what I'm learning from this gameplay here is that, as he uses another Onslaught, is that he's willing to trade HP for last hits. And this is a trend that I've noticed throughout a lot of the game and players. It's not that they're reckless and they're willing to like feed for CS, it's just that they're willing to kind of push their limits and even get a little bit low for the sake of contesting as many CS as possible. That seems to be a trend within all of their gameplay. And so yeah, he gets a good bottle timing at minute 30, right? 6 CS after 2 waves is not terrible. I'm sorry, after 3 waves, 7 after 3 waves. It's not terrible. It's not great, but it's not terrible considering he's against Razor. And when he gets bottle, he'll be a-okay. And that's a key thing for the mid lane. Contest as many CS as possible, because the bottle is going to shrug off most of, well, almost any damage you've taken up until that point. As you'll see, after using the 3 charges, he's pretty chillin'. Now from there, he goes for a big play and tries to get both of the water runes, which unfortunately doesn't pan out, as he well, actually gets the water rune, but gets his ass beat by Razor. This hero with level 2 Link packs a punch, but he does a good fair chunk of damage to the Razor and instantly ships a salve. And that was a great play, right? A lot of people won't see like, oh, shipping salve is a great play. But it is a great play. Because if you don't ship a salve here, you're not going to be able to contest CS for the next few waves. Because, well, the Razor will regen up, right? This guy has Tangos and a Fairy Fire remaining. Yes, you do have 2 bottle charges, and so you'll be alright. You'll be alright, but you won't be able to put pressure, and you most certainly won't be able to play aggressive. And so yeah, eventually the salve gets shipped out, he pops it immediately, which was kind of crazy. Did this guy have Q up? Wow, okay, Crystallis is not paying attention, but he doesn't cancel the salve, and Quinn goes for some pretty heavy pressure. I actually don't know why he goes for this play, it seems a bit psychotic to me. Maybe he knows that the water runes will be coming up soon, or it was just a bad play. It's really hard to say in that case, because it was a decent trade, but nothing special. I say that, but then it ends up leading to actually a solo kill, so it's really crazy how these players think or see the future, you know? He just maybe knew that 2 rounds of spells would actually allow him to kill the Razor, and that is what happens. An Onslaught Pulverize on a half HP Razor eventually secures the kill. He knows the Fairy Fire is going to come out because he checks the Razor's items, and he gets a massive kill. And it's particularly massive because now, due to the timing, he's just going to go pick up the Water Rune and then pick up the Bounty Rune. On his way to the Water Rune, he even scouted to see if there was a Bounty Rune there, using the edge of his vision, It was there, so he spends the time to walk over, takes the wave to a medium camp, and farms both at the same time. And that's a cool trick you can do as well to make sure that you're going to basically be as efficient as possible. One thing that he does wrong here is he should have actually lowered the medium camp a bit more, right? These creeps have the most HP out of anything here, and so you want to lower those 2 creeps as much as you can and then onslaught. What I don't love about what he does here is he doesn't lower them enough, so it kind of ends up setting up this weird situation where he doesn't kill these creeps with the trample, and he has to spend about 3 to 4 seconds hitting them, which is not optimal. Now, level 6 is when Primal becomes very, very fun. Alright, this is when you can solo kill heroes with the new buffed Pulverize, and this ability does more damage than it used to. He goes back to base on his level 6 timing, and I like that because there was no runes coming up at the time, and he understands that if he goes back to base, he'll actually be able to pressure the power rune very easily, and that's what happens. Crystallis goes for the rune. I don't know if he didn't know Quinn was level 6, but Quinn even messes up the onslaught, but it doesn't matter. They pick up the kill, and he'll be able to get the power rune off of that. And now the game is just so much easier because he's going to be a full half level above the Razor. He's going to hit a very strong phase boots timing at minute 6:30, and Razor ends up going on him here with the Eye of the Storm, but his supports for mid, and this is just another good play from Quinn. His minimap awareness is incredible because he sees both supports are here, so he instantly goes for the Pulverize instead of disengaging and commits for the kill, making the Razor's game horrendous. From there, he gets a bottle refill and he's going to ship out Magic Wand and Windlace. The reason why he's buying these items is because they're the best items for playing fast in the early game. And from there, he looks for stacks, and this is actually something Quinn does on a very frequent basis. If he thinks the enemy team is stacking for one reason or another, he will go and check the stacks. In fact, I think he just knew there was a stack here because of this ward. But yeah, he comes over, he's like, oh, stack. And he was going to farm it, you could tell. But a Bat Rider comes over, Pulverize into trample, a little bit of trample damage, then an onslaught, and he finishes the kill. And that's best case scenario typically with Primal, leading with Pulverize, then a little bit of trample, and then an onslaught to maximize the trample damage, and you get the kill. He stacks up the large camp, again, picks up the power rune and farms it. That was based. That was a huge, huge play. And on top of that, he keeps going, right? He has an Invis rune, so he can kind of scout the area, pops a bottle charge, and now he can see if anyone will TP in and try to make a play. Checks the ancients for the Lycan. He thought he would be farming it, wasn't farming it, goes for the kill onto the Nyx, who got off by Carapace, so unfortunately, he isn't able to get the job done, but it doesn't end there. They can look to go back in because, well, Primal Beast doesn't have major cooldowns. Onslaught and Trample are up. Now, I actually don't love his casting of Onslaught there. Typically, I don't recommend casting it unless you know you're going to connect, because then you lose a lot of damage on Trample. Fortunately for him, he's really far ahead, so this whole dive play ends up going okay, and maybe that's something he keeps in mind, like, oh, I'm owning the game. As a result, even if I go Psycho mode, it's going to force under-leveled heroes to fight, and those heroes just won't have enough gas in the tank. His next play after dying is looking at the minimap, and this is important. Anytime you die, you have free reign of where you're going to go, because you're going to TP with full resources, and that means that the TP will likely be good. On top of that, you can just kind of see what's happening because you have some downtime. So he gets a kill onto the wind. Very, very nice. Nothing crazy there. He's going to allow the Tide to take the tower and pressure the tower. He's going to take the Tide Hunter's creep wave, because who cares about offlaners? Quinn certainly doesn't. No, I'm kidding. But he's going to take the wave once again to the medium camp. I love that. Very, very efficient. Contest the power rune, which unfortunately, due to the wolf, he is unable to get, and he's going to look to head back mid. Because of the fact that the Razor is sitting under the tower, he just decides to go and farm the large/medium camp, and that's fine, right? A lot of people don't understand that it's okay to just farm it up as Primal from time to time. If the enemy is playing hyper defensive, it's all right. He is looking for an angle though, once again on mid, and the reason why is because he's super far ahead. He sees the Wind Ranger pushing up pretty far bottom, so he's pinging the Tide Hunter to come over, just wants a gush to try to get the kill. Wind makes a good response and hits the Shackle Shot on the onslaught, so he has to return back to mid. I say that until he sees the Wind pushing up again, so they are just terrorizing this Wind Ranger. Unfortunately, he once again cannot get the kill, but I will say at the end of the day, even though he's not farming, neither is Wind Ranger. And that's something to keep in mind, guys. Wind wants to hit some lane creeps and scale. If you prevent her from doing that, the enemy's main timings are going to be delayed, and this also sets up for a tier 2 take 11 minutes into the game. From there, he returns back to mid and contests another power rune, which, you know, is a key theme. He contests almost every, if not every power rune. Power runes are key, guys. If you're a mid lane player and you're not contesting every power rune hard, you're not looking at the power rune and saying, this is my child, I must protect it, you're not looking at it the right way. It is that important, they are that OP. For instance, the haste rune is OP. He's going to pop that and look for the Wind Ranger again, understanding that, yeah, magic damage counters Wind Ranger, and therefore it's good to pressure Wind Ranger. They get a nice 2-man black hole. That was a sick black hole. Ooh, is there a Nyx here? Oh, there's a Nyx here. I'm like, why did that cancel? But yeah, sick black hole, and once again, he's forcing fights in a game where the enemy team can't fight. And look, Haste Rune. Typically, he'd get slowed. No chance he could chase here. That's not a play. But with the Haste Rune, it sets up for a triple kill. So Quinn ends up diving the tier 1 here and does end up going down. And I would like to say what he does after. I think he kind of realizes at this point in the game, I mean, he can fight without BKB. It's kind of about the angle he takes. I think that fight, he just went too far. He kind of was surrounded by about 3 heroes and canceled by the Nyx. And so, yeah, that was probably just a bad idea. Fight ends up going pretty poorly. And so he has 2 main options, in my opinion. Number 1, he can either decide to fight again and just look for a better angle, or number 2, what he can do is just farm up his BKB and be patient. And I think either is fine, right? Typically, you don't just like pick one or the other. That's not a good way to look at Dota. What you generally want to do is say like, okay, is the enemy team overextending or are they not? Are they pushing forward or are they not? If they're not, just farm. To note that he gets a regen rune here, I think that's a big part in his decision making because the regen rune just allows you to farm like a psycho, right? You'll see on this camp here, after the Nyx goes down, he's just going to farm it up normally with Trample, uses Onslaught, comes through, picks up 2 bounty runes, gets a neutral item, farms up these 2 camps with Onslaught Trample, right? Farms it up, clears that, pops his regen, pulverizes the wave before the regen fully comes through, level 2 pulverize, one-shots creep waves, farms this back camp, and all of a sudden, with another Onslaught, he's able to farm up this camp, and he has his BKB, right? So, yes, a big part of this has to do with the regen, so please keep in mind, regen runes, they let you farm if you get them, farm. I really mean that. A lot of people will get regens and just like run around and try to team fight. And yeah, he just farms up BKB in a very short period of time. The enemy team wasn't overextending, and he had the regen. Both factors allow him to take that fight. I would say the regen probably being the bigger one in that case, but both are important, and he finds a kill in the top. This is just a good example of reading the map, right, and kind of seeing someone overextend. I think a lot of players, this is one of their biggest weaknesses. They just don't understand what's an overextension and what's not. And it really comes down to, are they crossing the river? Where is their team? Has their team showed somewhere else? And are they under your vision, right? So where is their team? Did they cross the river? And are they under your vision, right? And so here, team here, cross the river, under vision. I mean, it checks every box. Doesn't even check like 2 of the boxes, checks every box. Now in team fights, this is where Primal can feel like kind of a weird hero. I would say for the most part, just look for a good opportunity to hit massive onslaught trample onto multiple heroes. If that's not an option, identify someone you can solo kill or a core you can get low. For instance, he kind of messes up here. This onslaught trample didn't really fully connect. You want the ability to run through the person with the trample at the same time to get maximum damage. He kind of didn't do that there, so I didn't love that execution. I do love this though. Pulverize goes through BKB now, and it does damage through BKB, and so he does a solid 400 damage, actually more, about 450, 500 to the Wind Ranger, and is going to burn out her BKB, right? And that's obviously huge. He knows that the Wind Ulti isn't going to kill him either, so he can kind of bait her to commit. Does exactly that, and with the onslaught, gets the job done. So nice fight. Just kind of understands that, hey, I counter Wind Ranger. I got a Blade Mail, Upwards good against Wind Ranger, and the Pulverize kites out her BKB. So good execution. And at this point, Quinn is just beast mode with the BKB and the maxed out Pulverize. You do crazy damage. Max Pulverize, because of the fact that you do bonus damage per hit now, does crazy damage. It does an extra 70 damage. And so you'll see as he goes on the Razor in a moment here, mainly because of the fact that the guy doesn't have BKB, he's going to do a huge chunk of damage with the Pulverize. Also because of the fact that it does bonus damage per hit, as I was saying, it just does so much on the second and third hit. 153, and then 201, and then 249. That's just a huge chunk of damage. That's almost 600 damage, and it controls the guy, obviously, for 2.3 seconds. Onslaught Pulverize comes out with the BKB, and don't be afraid to use your BKB early in the fights. Just get the damage done, right? Get a good BKB Pulverize off or BKB Onslaught, and then kite out, wait for your spells to come back up, and do it again. A lot of people will try to get greedy. They'll just like go for a Pulverize. Don't do it. Don't get it canceled. Just get a clean Pulverize, get a clean Onslaught Trample, kite out when the BKB's ending, reset, and do it again 20 seconds later or 15 seconds later, and you're golden. Also, in terms of talents, he took Onslaught damage at 10, and Beast dispels himself when activating Uproar at 15. If you don't know what this means, every 7 seconds you can click your Uproar, and basically the ability will then dispel you. So let's say you're affected by Sticky Napalm, dispelled. Let's say you're affected by Gleipnir, dispelled. Affected by Meteor Hammer damage, dispelled. Let's say you're affected by Wolf Cripple, Howl, dispelled. It dispels so much and in so many games on such a low cooldown, and that's why this talent is freaking nuts. At 20, you take Trample Multiplier, and at 25, you take Pulverized Duration. The other one's not bad. They cannot be slowed or rooted. It actually is really good some games if they have a lot of slows and roots, but Pulverized Duration with the bonus damage per hit and going through BKB is literally broken. You can stun someone for 4.6 seconds and do like 1.1k damage with Pulverize. It's completely insane. Like, this hero at level 25 is nuts. Especially with eventual Refresher and Hex, it gets pretty crazy. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. I'll see you in the next one, and I'm out. Peace! And that's all, but remember, before you leave, come on, before you tune out, subscribe to the Game Leap website, where we are going to help you get to the next rank. If you're stuck, click the link down below, and I'm out. Peace!